Swindon.
Yeah. Well, I told you I'm performing at the...
At Swindon's Magic Roundabout.
Just standing in the middle.
This Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m.
I'm performing at the Players... What is it? The Player of the Year.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Are you?
What, Tony of Stratford?
Tony of Stratford will be, of course, yeah.
Blimey.
Yeah. The weird thing is they waited until I bought my ticket before they asked me.
Did they really?
Literally within 20 minutes.
And winkies.
Within 20 minutes of me buying the ticket, the offer came through, and it was like, oh yeah, okay, thanks.
Is that one of those things that comes in?
Funnily enough, if that's one of those things that comes in, I'm just going to say, Mr. Paul Harris, do we have any texts or tweets and things that are flying around?
We certainly do. Luke from 3CR has tweeted to say he was really rather good on Monday night.
Very true.
Sean from Broughton, was at Broughton, has texted to say, I should know I live there. He says he wasn't impressed with Luke from 3CR on Monday night. Carl from MK1 has texted to say he thought he was better than Andy. Andy from MK1 has texted to say he thought he was better than Carl, but Luke was better than both of them. And Marcus from Netherfield wants to know how to get out.
I can understand that. Okay, excellent. We will be talking more about Monday night in a short while, because I had a great time there, and I think I was the only one.
I had a good time Monday night.
No,
I
I
can't
had a
remember
great
what I
time
did.
Monday night. It was my wife's birthday. We went out for a meal. Lovely.
Yeah.
Her birthday and anniversary all in the same week. She's a lucky woman to
And
have
it's
you.
my sister-in-law's birthday today. God, it never
Is
ends.
that, is that one way so you don't forget who it is?
It never ends. I tell you. April. Cruelest of months.
It was my daughter's birthday last week.
Thank God.
It was my birthday on. That's why my name was on the board at the last match.
I meant to ask about that.
Yes.
I mean, I kind of guessed, but
Yeah.
Case Securities was funnier. That was all.
I listened to the podcast and went, I'm not Case Security. I didn't actually say anything, I just actually did it on the table.
It's amazing. Does that work sometimes?
It does, yes, yeah. And talk while you type at the same time, just like in the films. That's how it works.
You had a match to talk about listeners, don't you?
Absolutely, yeah. All right. I'm going to do this.
Yes, indeed, it's time once again for Tenuous Links, where we start with two seemingly unconnected people or things and then proceed to show by a series of progressively unrealistic and remarkably tenuous links just how they are connected. This week, we show you how a former presenter of a popular car-based TV programme and a former member of a popular boy band were apparently separated at birth. Jeremy Clarkson used to present Top Gear.
He did.
Gears was a character in the cartoon series Transformers.
Oh, yeah.
A transformer transfers energy between two electric circuits.
Dodgy.
A circuit can be used as another name for a racetrack. Tracks of My Tears was a hit for the Miracles and Smokey Robinson. Robinsons make delicious fruit-based drinks. Drinks of the alcoholic kind are usually served in a pub.
Can
and
just
you
say
can tell
rather
it's
than using
alcoholic.
the one word you couldn't say was
Alcoholic.
alcoholic.
Which is probably one of my favourite words. A pub is a shortened name for a public house. The White House is where the president lives. The former president was a guy called Bush. Turns page. Shepherd's Bush is a major road junction in London. London has many roads leading in all sorts of directions. And One Direction used to have a member called Zayn Malik. Aye, thank you.
I'm still sad about that.
Oh,
Sorry.
Sorry.
That's beautiful. Thank you
I
very
thought
much.
Twilly had come back for a minute.
Yeah. Jack or no, that's the wrong person. Okay, I thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Jim Cleland, and every Tuesday between 9am and 12pm on Secklo Sounds Radio, you can hear all things MK. We have local news, sport, weather, traffic and travel, and lots of music. I'll be talking to local people about fitness, health, what's going on in Milton Keynes, our diverse community, local businesses, and much more. Join me, Jim Cleland, for all things MK every Tuesday between 9am and 12pm on Secklo Sounds Radio.
You're listening to the MooCamp Radio Show here on Secklo Sounds, and we're eternally grateful that you are. We've had no football whatsoever.
None at all.
We'll talk about upcoming matches in a while, but we did have what I think was a rather splendid event on Monday evening, so we shall talk about that for a while. And if you were there, we'd like to know what you think as well. So we had a fans forum. And I think I'm right in saying out of the three of us, I was the only one that bothered to go.
You were?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Sorry, hand. No,
No hand.
Okay, yeah. And it was one of those things that, I'll be honest, to sum it up in a sentence, I'll talk in detail in a moment, but to sum it up in a sentence, I've never been so pleased that we're not a proper club. Because I don't think many clubs can do the sort of thing that we did there, certainly not as well as we do. It was one of those where we had a perfect coming together of fans, supporters association, local radio and club. And we all sat in a room and had a great time.
Cool.
We remarked on the irony of a number of things about the evening, particularly the fact that we had at least twice the amount in the room that we took to Oldham a couple of weeks before, which was kind of, again,
Well, it's a
very
lot
clever,
closer as well, isn't it?
It is, but it was raining. So,
No,
I mean,
yeah.
you know.
It was
Yeah.
pouring. God, it was windy. I remember it. I was up to help me.
I was
Having a
walking
lovely
the,
meal.
Yeah,
Where
I
did
was
you
walking
eat?
the dog.
We ate in some French place and I had beef bourguignon and it was delicious.
Was that Café Rouge?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I like it.
It's very nice. It's my first time. Won't be my last. I'll be going back.
I've been to Zizzi's at the hub.
That's
couple
my
of times
first
recently.
visit to the hub ever.
Okay. It's very windy, as I
It's
think
very
you've noticed.
windy,
Yeah.
I didn't see Dan, who lives there, which was a bonus, to be quite honest.
Ah, there you go. Okay.
I
That's
believe
not bad.
he was at the fans forum. Oh, here we have brought
You
that
see?
back. And
It's
that's
straight back.
seamless.
Well, look, let me just describe the events for those of you who weren't there. We had, it was more in the crowd than usual. I would think we normally get perhaps 60, 70 people. I reckon there was at least 130, 140, maybe a little bit more there. It was, and bearing in mind there was no other entertainment of any kind, like Tony Stratford or anything like that.
Who was on the panel there, Brandon? My man?
The panel, interesting you should say that. Well, traditionally we have Carl and then some players and things like that. We had
Yes.
Carl and Mr. Andrew Cullen, and that was it. But it was actually really nice.
What I would like to see, even though I wasn't there, is I think that's probably why it was a better evening, because if you'd had Winkleman there, he would be telling you how fantastic everything was, and everyone would be walking out and goes, God, everything's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because he's got that about him, and that's why I think it was probably a better evening for him not being there. No offence to the man. He's probably washing his hair, but...
Or washing his
I
shirts.
think we know that's not true.
yeah,
Or washing his
shirt.
shirts.
No, he
yeah.
didn't do it. No.
Ironing his shirts. No.
But I think that's probably why it went for the better, and...
Having been there, I'd obviously like to say that's complete rubbish, but thank you. I appreciate the input. It was one of those where Adam, from an SA perspective, I think has done a cracking job in terms of polishing things and getting things a bit better and tighter and smoother, and it looked slicker. And there were tables across the back that had things from the archive. Are you aware of the archive? The archive.
Was there a fanzine in it?
Funnily enough, there were two fanzines in it. Yeah, I had a real sort of, oh my word, I actually felt quite proud of it for a second. There were two copies of a certain fanzine called It's Different Class. Was it called? It was called Different Class, wasn't it?
Different Class.
It's Different Class. We are. It was. There were a couple of those on the table, which was good.
Excellent.
We need to get Mr. Franco's garage emptied out and get the Bucks
I've
fizzes
got
up
one
there
of
as
his
well.
somewhere.
I've got a couple. I'm fairly certain, unless he's trashed them, Franco's got a garage full as well, like we have of the last couple of issues.
Yeah, I've got a
of
shed
Different
full
Class.
of edition 4 of Different Class. You can have 300 of them, Adam, if you would like.
But there was some breaking news coming out of it, which I think was the first time it had been announced. The original plan behind the archive was it would all be online, and it will be. It will go there. But I think the volume of stuff that's coming in and the amount of things that we've got that have been accumulated has sort of prompted a desire to try and do some more with it. And Milton Keynes Council are opening up a museum in Wolverton in 2017, we believe, and the SA are going to have a section of that where they'll be displaying and rotating items from the archive as we go on.
You
I think
wouldn't
it's rather
get
cool.
that from, let's, for example...
From anyone in particular you're thinking of, Sam?
I was thinking of Luton Council. You wouldn't get that from them, would you?
No, every time we ask them for a place to put
No,
MK Dom's
stuff from
material,
MK
they just say no.
No.
Yeah.
Any other Luton-based news come out of that fans forum?
Sorry, I see what you were trying to do. Luke got quite cross about that at one point, just because he announced fairly... we were talking about where the training ground was going to be, and he just said, it's in Luton. So I immediately tweeted up Luke Ashmead, essentially saying, Ashmead announced an MK training ground in Luton, and he called me out on it afterwards and said, we have a large percentage of our listeners come from Luton, so hi all of you. Yeah, none of them tweeting in at the moment. Isn't it weird how Mr. Paul Harris is here and all the Facebook posts have stopped?
Why not even get one tweet here from David from Westcroft's not even tweeted in.
Oh my word!
Tweet in David from Westcroft.
I'm going to pick out a few highlights of the evening because I think there were actually quite a number, and it's stuff like this. You know, I just don't think you get this level of interaction from most clubs. I know it's easier in the lower leagues anyway, but. They were dealing with all the questions and things that came up. First question was someone essentially saying, should we, asking if Robbo and Mr. Cullen agreed with him that the fans should stop singing about franchise so we could develop our own identity. And
I think that gets shouted down, didn't it?
Almost to a man. It did. You need to allow the guy things to say it, I guess, but it was shouted down where everyone else had cottoned onto the fact that is our identity, whether we like it or not. And I think most of us do. That's it, and that's what we're sticking with. And so that was good. The fact that you had Robbo sitting there talking about he didn't say his name. He said Marmite. He referred to Daniel Power as Marmite, funny, and that's fantastic. You know, I think they're really good natured in the way that they do it. There was a point where there were a couple of people asking relatively grumpy questions at times, and not necessarily taking the sort of light-hearted answers they were getting. But Robinson's, he's a funny guy. He gets it, and I think it's great.
Did anyone ask, like, the sort of nonsense you get on the forums on a Saturday night if we've lost? Did anyone, like, question his tactics or anything like that? Or were they all just, Carol, you're great?
No, there were people. It was really funny, actually. That, the Hitchcock question came up a couple of times, and essentially people were saying, why aren't you playing him? And he was very frank, and he turned around and said, well, at the start of the season, who would you have dropped for him? Would you have dropped Afobe, who was scoring for fun, or would you have dropped Grigg, who was scoring for fun? No, you wouldn't, and that was it. And unfortunately, by the time we got around to the point where we had a bit of an opening, his fitness wasn't where it needed to be, and he's got some work to do to get it. You know, Carl's got a lot of time for the lad, I think. He gave him a lot of support, but essentially said he's not where we need him to be right now. Hence, he's not starting. Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. I'm looking at this. If we had a script, my favourite question would be part 2 of your fans forum. That would be my favourite thing. Robbo taking delight in Ferguson Jr. You've written down.
I did write Robbo taking delight in Ferguson Jr. It was quite a giggly moment because this came out of someone saying, essentially, why don't you make substitutions earlier? What they said was, you can see Powell's not having a great game after 20 minutes. Why not take him off at half-time? Type thing, they were saying. And what he said, someone turned around and said, we quite often have away teams who make substitutions at half-time against us, and sometimes multiple ones. And Carl said, yeah, fair enough, but that's normally when they're losing heavily. If you're 3-0 down at half-time, then I'd be doing that. And he said, and what he actually said was, if you're 3-0 down, like Darren Ferguson was, I really enjoyed saying that. And it was just like, oh God, yeah, I enjoyed
watching it as well.
Yeah. But he talked about him. He talked about, I can't remember which other manager he talked about as well. But yeah, a couple of difficult questions. Someone asked him who his favourite loanee was. And you could tell he was really struggling after it. And then after a while he just turned to, Delhi! Which kind of works because he is. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's much else to talk about, but it was an absolutely brilliant evening. It's one of those
questions were asked to old matey boy?
Mr. Cullen?
Yes.
Things about why, or do we ever see a situation arising where the screens might work?
Absolutely. That is my bugbear.
I've heard they're second-hand.
Well, that was the point at which he announced the fact that they were second-hand when we got them.
Did they get them before Curry's closed? That's what it was.
I can't take them back.
No.
That's it, it's Comet, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, Comet. Curry's are still going, aren't they? Yes, they are, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to criticise.
No.
I hope you said that as
No, that's fine.
Positive
feedback.
Fine.
No, absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and again, people do ask the questions, but they get straight answers. So someone turned around and said, don't you think it's embarrassing that we've never had all 4 working? And he said, well, it might be, but what would you rather spend the money on, the team or those? And it's really difficult to challenge that and turn around and say, well, yeah, I'd much rather you spend it on some bigger tellies. Because that's what I go to football for.
That's what I want to watch.
That's what I signed up for.
I want to see the slow-mo repeats of the goals. That's what I want to see.
I quite like that.
I do.
That's fair enough. Yeah. So yeah,
forget the team, just have the tellies. That's what I said.
What else got asked of Mr. Cullen? He was asked about. I mean,
Spurs.
Spurs. Yes. The question was, will Spurs come to Milton Keynes? And he wasn't being drawn on it because he doesn't know. But essentially, they're in conversation. But what he did say was that Spurs would have to have a